Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This has been an amazing week. My main portfolio has hit a brand new milestone. See, the whole reason why I started investing was I wanted to retire by 40 years old. I am 29 now, about to be 30. And last week, with the brand new milestone, I'm realizing I may retire before 40 years old, and it's life changing. I am honestly damn proud of myself. This has been a long journey, ups and downs, but ultimately it's been fun and I really enjoy it. And hopefully you come along with me. So on this channel, we're tracking my Roth IRA, not my main portfolio. And the whole point of it is to outperform and beat the S&P 500. So let's take a peek at it. Year to date, I'm up 31% and the S&P 500 is up only 7%. So mission accomplished. We are still outperforming the S&P 500. So who needs a money manager or a hedge fund? We could do it ourselves if you learn and put in the time. So yesterday, I made this post right here. If you know that movie Gladiator, are you not entertained? Up $30,000 in a week with zero options, zero leverage. All I'm doing is just buying and holding great companies. And man, you should see my 3 months returns. Life changing. So you see, I'm a registered nurse. I work at a local public health department. So I don't make the most money. I'm not a CEO at a big company. I'm not dropping tens of thousands of dollars in a single day. All I'm doing is just dollar cost averaging. But over time, money compounds. You're buying great companies, it compounds, it doubles, it triples. And next thing you know, your portfolio will make half of your salary in a week, as you can see right here. So this is amazing. The goal to retire by 40 is coming. It's coming for tuition, and I'm getting more and more excited. But investing is not all rainbows and sunshine. It's not always you buy a stock and immediately goes up. And matter of fact, when I start buying a position, I absolutely hate it when the stock skyrockets. And why is that? Because I didn't build a well position. You need money to make money. If you put in $1 into a company and that company doubles, your dollar just became $2. Amazing, 100% return. But if you look at it at face value, what's an extra dollar? It's not really much. It's not going to change your life. But let's say you put in $100,000 into a company and it doubles. Now you have an extra $100,000. Now that's an extra year that you don't have to work. That's an extra year that you don't have to stay away from your family, do hard labor, etc. Now you just bought back your time. So let's take a quick peek at an example at a company that I'm currently buying that has went down. That is United Health. I am actually so happy that this company went down and I didn't miss the run. Why is that? Because I think this company is extremely undervalued. We talked about the CEO buying $25 million worth of shares around 288, 287. So at this moment, you could buy this stock for a cheaper price than what the CEO originally bought. And people buy a company only for one reason, and that is to make money. And also, this is where dollar cost averaging comes into play. So let's say you started buying this company at 300, 320, 311, and now it's at 282. If you keep buying this company, your average just starts to go down. So now your average is now started off at 311. You could bring it down to 290. So now the company has to go above 291 for you to start seeing a profit instead of having to go all the way up to 311. So the more you buy, the lower your average becomes and the more shares you start having. And that's where the true magic starts to happen. That's when the money starts to compound. So I was buying this company all the way in the 320s. My average was 311 and I've been buying a lot and now my average is 302. So now the company has to be 303 for me to be profitable. And I'm going to keep buying, hopefully bringing my average down to the 290s, maybe in the 280s. You see, the news always follows the stock price. If the stock price is going up, oh, it's all rainbows and sunshine. The stock can do no wrong. The company's amazing. The CEO is amazing. But the second the stock price starts going down, the news will follow. People are going to start hating these companies. People are going to start saying bad things about them. All these journalists and reporters, they're going to start saying bad things. Why? They're not really out here looking out for you. All they're doing is just trying to sell news. So let's take a quick peek. So I found this article about Meta back in October 27 of 2022. That is when Meta started to go full in investment onto the metaverse. Investors hated it. Everyone started saying it's terrible. As you can see, horrible day after dismissal earnings report. And it brought down Meta stock price under $98 a piece. $98 a share from Meta stock. So let's take a look at that. Let's see, did the news really follow the stock or what's really going on? So here's Meta of October 28 of 2022. $99.20. As you can see here, Meta right now is at $700. So these analysts were telling you, don't buy Meta at $99. Meta's going nowhere. Meta's going bankrupt. And if you would have listened to them, you would have missed buying at the lows. But if you look more recently now, with the stock going nothing but up, you will see nothing but great news about Meta. I dare you, take a search yourself. Look up anything about Meta. Meta's executing. Mark Zuckerberg is the best. Blah, blah, blah. But when Meta was down here, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't know what he's doing. He's an alien. Sell the stock. Metaverse is not real. All that good stuff. Metaverse did not come out to be the way Mark Zuckerberg envisioned, but they got a llama out of it. Meta AI. So there's always great things when companies are looking to find the next big thing. And the most important thing is it's Meta. This company is not going anywhere. Even at $99 a share, this company was printing money. Hand over fist. It was printing money. And people were discounting it, saying, oh, this company is the dying company. And this is where the alpha comes in. This is where the best money is made. When you find that company that everybody starts to hate, everybody starts to sell, but that company is a broken stock, not a broken company. Big difference. Everyone is hating on the stock, but that company is executing and doing great things. Another good example that I found is 3M. 3M back in October 28 of 2023 had a massive decline. They were getting all these lawsuits, and their dividend was almost at 7%. So this is where I started scooping it in. I looked at the numbers. I looked at everything. The company was still printing money. It was still cash producing machine. And I was working in the operating room at that time. And almost every single equipment and disposable items, a lot of it was used by 3M. It was a 3M product. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're using this stuff every single day. So remember what you're doing in every day-to-day life. Look at these companies. Look at what the consumer is doing. So let's say, for instance, like a Target. Take a peek at a Target. See if the lines are not crowded. Are people not shopping there anymore? And if they are, but the reports are saying otherwise, that's where you get that alpha. So on October 28 of 23, as you can see here, 3M was at $73 a share. Nothing but bad news. This company is going to be sued to oblivious. People are going to get rid of this company. The lawsuits are going to hurt it. They're not going to make cash. And if you would have been buying at this time, you would have doubled your money, maybe even more. And you would have secured a 7% dividend. So I was loading the boat on 3M during that time. And it went all the way up to here. And that's when I originally sold it because I wanted to put it into Google. Because now I think Google had that alpha back when Google was in the 140s and all these great numbers. Google should not be at that price. So just remember, the news follows the stock price. And when you see these companies, you want to do whatever you can to buy as much as you can. Obviously, keep up with the earnings report. Make sure it's something that you're not missing. But ultimately, most of the time, if you find a great company and it's just going through a reset, every single great company is going to have a downfall. And that's where the opportunity presents itself. That's when you start, all right, I'm not buying my $7 coffees every morning. I'm going to make my own coffee because I want to put that money into the stock market. I want that money to double, triple, quadruple. I want that money to work for me, and every single dollar counts. So I personally don't have a big savings portfolio. I have that little emergency fund, but most of my money is in the stocks. Why? If I leave it in the bank, that money is not going to do much. Maybe if I'm lucky, if I'm in a high yield savings account, I'll get a 3.5% return. But as you can see here, we're outperforming that. Year to date, we're up 30%. And if you put that in multiple years, you're missing out on a lot of money. Plus, if that money is just sitting in my savings account, I'm most likely going to use it. So I live like I'm broke. And that keeps me humble. It keeps me think twice about the value of money. It makes me think twice about buying purchases that I don't really need. And it makes me think about, hey, that dollar could become $3. So why not put it in the stock market? And when I need it, I'll just pull it out. So stop living the life that you cannot afford. Be humble. Live within your means. And remember, it takes time. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight. This is a 6-year journey for me. And once you reach the $100,000 mark in investing, oh my Lord, things start to compound. Money starts to grow. You will see money and returns that you never seen before. And I'm saying that from experience because when I first started, I had $100 in my portfolio. If I get a 15% return, it's not that much in total. It's $15. But when your portfolio is above $100,000, 15% return, it's $15,000. And it's so easy to do if you're buying the right companies. So how to get to that $100,000 mark? Do whatever you can to save every single penny that you don't need. Obviously, I take care of my bills first and foremost. So as soon as I get paid, I take care of the priority. I take care of my bills, my car payment, my mortgage, or my landlord fees, all that good stuff. Take care of that. And what's residual, I invest it. Why? Because if I hold on to it, I'm buying something that I don't need. And you want to get to the $100,000 as fast as possible. So what does that mean? Find a second gig, find an alternative, find a hobby that you like that will make you some extra cash. Ask for a raise, better yourself, invest in yourself, go to college. I didn't think of myself of becoming a nurse, but I found myself working in factories. I'm like, hey, I'm worth a little bit more than the minimum wage. Let me put myself in a career that I like, something that has the alpha. Most nurses are females. I'm a male nurse, so I'm highly sought after because there's not a lot of us. Some patients prefer a male nurse. Some aspects of the profession requires a male nurse. So you want to find that alpha, find where you're going to be at, and invest in yourself and get yourself to that $100,000 as fast as possible, because that's when your life will start to change. Sounds like hard, it sounds tough, but trust me, I'm not rich. This is all self-made. This is all 3 years of remembering, studying, and ultimately having faith and trust in yourself. And you will be damn proud of yourself, because I am proud of myself. And as you can see here, retail investors have been picking on. Since COVID, retail investors have been doubling down on every single dip. We are outperforming the Wall Street hedge funds, all these big companies and institutions. They're making 10, 15% returns in a year, maybe even less. And we're making 30, 40, 50. My other portfolio, I'm up 150% in a year. So it's amazing. We are doing it and we are outperforming. And let's take a peek at this video.
Retail investors this week have kept buying despite the market conditions through the dip. It's paid off this week. Kate Rooney is with us with the numbers. Kate?
Yeah, John, so as you mentioned, individual investors have been buying the dip we've seen throughout all of this market chaos. Right now, at least, it is paying off. So the average retail portfolio is up about 15% in recent weeks. That's according to JP Morgan. It's pretty much in line with the market's overall comeback. And they are driving an outsized portion of overall market action. Usually retail participation, it's around 12% of the total. Recently, it went as high as 36%. That is the highest level in history, at least as long as JP Morgan has been measuring it. It is triple the long-term average. And then institutional activity at the same time has been what they called subdued. And Vanda Research noting a similar recovery for retail portfolios, and points out over the long term, if you adjust for prices there, retail investors have outperformed both the Qs and the S&P. Part of this comes down to muscle memory. So the year of COVID is a good example. Retail investors were buying the dip in droves, and then they ended that year up about 30%. That was more than 4 times the overall market performance. Part of that success does come down to risk appetite. The top 3 stocks, it's pretty consistent. And right now it's still Tesla, Palantir, and NVIDIA. Also got the Qs and a lot of the mega cap tech names. Profit taking, though, is kicking into the...
So yeah, retail investors have been dominating. We're not listening to these articles anymore. We started learning that articles and news follows the stock price. And ultimately, we started looking at these companies as assets, valuable assets. These companies you want to own. It's like buying a property. It's like buying a house. I want to own Google. Why? This company will dominate. This company will double, triple my money, and it will work with my money a lot better than I will. I probably will spend it on ice cream, on a date. They're going to spend it on AI, robotics, self-driving, all these amazing stuff. So retail investors, which is the average investors, people like me and you, we're dominating now. We're learning this game. And now with Robinhood and all these amazing features, buying a stock is so easy. If you could buy a product on Amazon, it is 6 times easier to buy a stock. You don't have to put in your address. You don't have to put in your shipping. You just click put in your money into your account and click buy with the stock that you want. So let's talk a little bit closer about DCA, especially like a company like United Health. Let me give you a good example. Let's say you have found this shirt at a local shop and you really love that shirt. You're like, oh man, this shirt is amazing, but the shirt costs $40. You're like, it's a little expensive. Maybe I'll wait. You come back the next day and that shirt is $20. What are you going to do? If you were thinking about it at $40 and you find that shirt now with 50% off, what are you going to do? You're going to buy it. You might buy another shirt for your friend, maybe for you in case the other one breaks, if you really like that shirt that much. Or maybe you buy another one for a gift. So let's take a look at United Health. United Health was almost a $600 stock. Now we got 50% off at $282. Actually, a little bit over 50%. What are you going to do? You're going to buy more. This company is a leader in this sector. This company is not broken. This company is dominating. Yes, facing some allegations, but it's far oversold. It should not be here. It should be at least $400 a share. So you see the difference here? This is where the alpha comes in. The bad news, people get scared. They start selling. Hedge funds, they're so quick to pull the trigger because they're managing billions and trillions of dollars. A 1% loss for them is massive. So they immediately sell, and the stock starts to plummet. And what do? We find this alpha. We find a company that is a leader in this sector at a 50% off. It's like finding your favorite shirt at 50% off. What are we doing? We're going to load the boat. We're going to be patient. It may go more down. The next earnings is going to be on July 29th. There's a new CEO. He may come in and say, you know what? Let's cause more pain because I want to look like a good CEO. I want to see the stock go maybe instance to 250 because they're going to, at the end of his journey, he's going to say, hey, I brought that company from $250 to $600. And low key, they're probably buying too on the way down. As you can see with his other purchase at 25 million at 287 a share, I believe. So don't let the news fool you. Find these companies, do your research, do your homework, and see, is this a broken stock or a broken company? If it's a broken company, companies do go out of business. Just remember that. But remember what they're in, remember what they're serving, and you see the future of that company. For instance, I'm not going to buy a type printer company. Why? Because we have computers and all that stuff. So that company, is deserving to go down. But a company like United Health, with healthcare, the largest healthcare insurer in the world, the leader of his sector, with millions and millions of people have plans with them, and employers and all this stuff. Even the government has plans with United Health. You think to yourself, in 10 years, will you be surprised if United Health goes out of business? I will be very, very surprised if United Health goes out of business. Versus a company like a typewriter business, will you be surprised if it's completely out of business in 10 years? Yeah, actually, I would have been surprised if it lasted a lot long. I'm like, oh, they should have been out of business as of this date. So just remember what you're holding. Remember what you're buying. Find these amazing companies that are mispriced. And that is where the alpha comes in. And the money will start to double, triple, But you don't want your dollar to double. You want, for instance, $10,000 to double because you want these money to have meaningful returns. So whatever you do, try to invest as much as you can, as often as you can, and just keep it going, keep it rolling, and that is how you get to this goal. That is how I'm getting to my goal to retirement. Zero options, zero leverage, just buying, finding these great discounts, and holding on to them. I hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next one.